Joining us now is Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego of Arizona. Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it. So we're now in day 5 of this federal government shutdown. You've been part of the talks happening on sidelines as senators look for a way to end this standoff. Are you any closer to an actual deal that might end the shutdown?
At this point, no. I mean, we're still going to continue talking. And look, we know that our Senate Republicans also want to get to the deal. They understand that 24 million Americans are going to have their premiums doubled starting November 1st when they have to go into open enrollment. And most of them are going to be from red states. There's a deal to be had here, right? But we need to see them actually urgently moving because we don't want Americans on November 1st to start thinking about whether or not they should even re-enroll. Well, we're hearing right now that if we don't get these premiums correct, if we don't get the subsidies there, 4 million Americans are just going to lose their health care altogether. And that doesn't even count all the private sector premiums that are also going to go up because of the fact that we're going to kick off, 24 million Americans from doubling in their price, or they're going to end up getting their prices doubled.
But is there a deal to be had in some sort of separate deal with John Thune or with Speaker Johnson where they will bring up legislation that you're working on that will amend this, but it is a pledge, not necessarily tied to the clean.
Look, we've been asked for something like that, and I think a lot of us have said, open up the government, for a couple of weeks before November 1st, so that way we could make sure we have some resolution. The problem is, who are we dealing with? Mike Johnson has sent away the Republicans to hide the Epstein list. Donald Trump, the art of the deal, the man who wrote the book, cannot be found anywhere. We don't know who we can even speak to over there at the White House because he's not involved. And last we heard from our leadership talking to him, he was unaware about how serious these ACA subsidies are and how it will affect not just blue America, but also red America. So there is negotiations to be had, but 2 out of the 3 people that need to be involved are gone and not in play right now.
So what's interesting about this government shutdown is that it's the Democrats who have caused the shutdown. I understand why, but I'm just saying usually it's the Republicans causing the shutdown. As a Democratic member of the House during a different funding fight a decade ago, you said, quote, we should pass a hashtag clean budget bill with hashtag no riders. Hardworking families can't afford another government shutdown. And Republicans say that's what they did. This is a clean budget bill with no riders, and you all voted against it.
Well, first of all, it's not clean. Number 2, as I pointed out there about hardworking families, 24 million Americans are going to have their rates increase, almost doubled. 4 million are going to lose.
Their insurance rates, yeah.
Yeah, and in Arizona, up to 100,000 people are going to lose their insurance, and then even more than that are going to have their insurance rates double, sometimes to thousands of dollars per month, sometimes even per year. This is something that we cannot allow to happen. Right now, everything's too expensive to begin with. You go to Costco, you go to Safeway, you go to Fry's, these are the grocery stores in Arizona. Everything's expensive. Grocery expensive.
What's it called?
Expensive. Fry's.
Fry's,
yeah.
Okay.
Grocery stores are expensive. Everything else like that. Now this president, in addition to everything what he's already done with the tariff, which has already caused prices to increase, is going to cost another increase to working families in this country. 24 million Americans are going to get hit with the Trump tax on their insurance policy starting November 1st. And that's why we want to get this done before November 1st.
Here are the Republican leaders talking about your demand and the Democrats' demand to address this issue of these increased Obamacare subsidies. Take a listen.
Some of the issues that they're bringing to the table and they're demanding immediate, easy answers for are not easy answers. We can't snap our fingers and he and I and 2 other leaders in a room go, oh, well, this is the resolution. That's not how it works.
We can't make commitments or promises on the COVID subsidies because that's not something that we can guarantee that there are the votes there to do. But what I've said is I'm open to having conversations with our Democrat colleagues about how to address that issue.
So they're saying it's a complicated issue. It's going to take time to resolve. They're willing to work with you if you reopen the government. That's not enough?
We certainly have already said a couple of times, we're willing to work with you, but we have to get this done by November 1st. The American family needs certainty. By November 1st, if we do not get these subsidies, people are going to get their open enrollment. They're going to see their premiums are going to double, all because these guys can't move fast. They certainly can move fast when they need a tax cut. They certainly can move fast when they want to back up the president. They certainly can move fast to cancel Congress to hide the Epstein list and protect the president. But to actually take care of the American working family that's going to have their insurance premiums doubled, they seem to not be able to do it. Well, what I see and I understand, they control the White House, the Congress, as well as the Senate. They certainly have been able to change the rules to get things done to benefit the richest of the rich in this country, but to take care of the middle class, they seem to have to be impotent. Well, there's a time and a place for all that. Right now, I'm telling them if we can get together get something done before November 1st, then you could have a great deal. But the fact is, they want to wait till after November 1st, after people have already gone through open enrollment, after they have to either pay their insurance premiums or they're going to just not get insurance anymore, and then they want to negotiate for the American public, for the American middle class, and I'm not going to do that. I want to negotiate for the American middle class right now.
So some of your colleagues are refusing their paychecks while the government shut down. You told NBC, quote, "I'm not wealthy and I have 3 kids. I would basically be missing mortgage payments, rent payments, child support, so it's not feasible, not going to happen," unquote. I saw that you got into a little Twitter war with.
Yeah, this is all gimmicks. These are all gimmicks. Most of these senators are millionaires to begin with, right? And all these congressmen that are complaining about it, they already got paid for the whole month. That's all one big gimmick. And when these people are complaining about this or that, what's going on is that they're not actually focusing on all these Americans who are going to lose their insurance, right?
Right, but the government workers who are furloughed or maybe even laid off permanently, it hasn't happened yet, but it could. I mean, that's happening now. And like they also have kids and mortgage payments and rent payments and child support.
Look, we're going to do, every time this happens, we always go back and we back pay our government workers. What's not going to happen is if we don't get any action, 24 million Americans aren't going to get their premiums back. 24 million Americans will get their insurance rates doubled, and or if this doesn't actually get reauthorized, then you're going to have 24 million Americans that are going to always have their insurance rates doubled or even beyond that going forward. There's a short time period we have to take care of these middle-class, hardworking Americans. And unfortunately, our federal workers are caught in this mix.
How long could this last, do you think, this shutdown?
We need to make sure that the premiums stay where they are, that we have the cost of insurance stay as low as possible, and we're going to negotiate that for that to happen. We need to have partners that are there. Where is Donald Trump in this? I have no idea.
But I mean, could this last to the end of the year? I mean, how long are you guys willing to take this?
I can't speak for everybody else, but I'm going to make sure that no matter what happens at the end of this day, 24 million Americans do not see their insurance rates doubled, because that's what's going to happen, all because a couple of Republicans refused to act. Donald Trump refused to get off the golf course, and all they want to do is continue their Project 2025 agenda, which is to get rid of the Affordable Health Care Act.
We're out of time, but you're a veteran, so I would be remiss if I didn't ask you what you thought of Secretary Hegseth's and President Trump's discussion before the generals at Quantico.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. It was, number one, it politicizes more the military, which is what you don't want to do. As someone who's sat in briefings of that nature, it really tells you what's happening. It's definitely clear that Secretary of Defense Hegseth is trying to compensate for something. Everything he did at that meeting, he could have sent in an email, and he was just trying to, show force, and he looked very weak in the process.
What do you think he's trying to compensate for?
I think the fact that he doesn't know what he's doing. He knows that within the Department of Defense, people think he's a laughingstock and that he is probably one of the worst Secretary of Defenses that this country has had. And I think he's trying to exert his power over some of these generals, but it's not going to help when he clearly is way out of his league.
All right, Senator Ruben Gallego, Democrat of Arizona, thanks for being here. Appreciate it, sir.
Fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.